Okay, bringing you back for turn two, the 2 p.m. turn for Great Battle of the American Civil War, River of Death, Battle of Chickamauga. This is the Rock of Chickamauga scenario that I'm playing here. And continuing on with turn two, had some pretty good excitement here. And again, a lot of dice rolling, a lot of repetitive stuff on there. So I didn't bring you folks back to show you the play through there, but I'm going to give you the summary on it, give you some of the action here and what happened, and let you see how this actually went and how things go. So what we're actually looking at here is the end of the turn, but I'm going to focus you in here a little bit. Okay, so what we're looking at here, if you remember from the end of turn one, we had Kershaw's division pushing hard against Brennian over here, and who was this here? Yes. Sorry, I've got him here someplace. Always under the attack marker. There he is. Harker pushing hard against them, and Harker actually pushing back pretty hard against them over here. Kind of stayed in the same spot. Brennian stabilized his line, kind of had to bend it back. The biggest issue with him is the fact that the 21st Ohio, these guys right here, 21st Ohio, which was over here trying to protect against Kershaw in a flanking movement here, was, first off, he was disordered, which you can see goes from an 8 down to a 6 after he's disordered, and they lost some strength points, and they got low ammo too. So quite significant battling over here against Kershaw. But ultimately, you see he's in here, which he's off the board, because ultimately he failed the disorder and was routed off the board, which was tough because he was the linchpin here over on the Union right side to prevent the Confederates from coming up off this trail before the reinforcements of Stanley and Stedman and Van Dever could get over there. So he was lost, which actually opened up Johnson's units, namely Fulton and Anderson, to get around and get past them over here, which was the Confederate attack all along. I explained that in the last one. He was going to try to flank them using this trail, and then you can see over here, you've got Suggs trying to flank over there as well, although that didn't have much effect over here, because you can see Fulton and Anderson were able to push up over there, given the fact that 21st Ohio was lost. Now, why would you say? You'd say, well, 21st Ohio, one regiment against two divisions, or two brigades in a whole division. How's that work? Well, the secret there behind it is these guys had Colt repeaters. And if you've played this, you know what those are all about. There's a significant modifier for firing with Colt repeaters. They get a +3 at close range, which is absolutely deadly. And actually, Kershaw and his units took some pretty heavy fire and absorbed quite a bit of fire over here from that. Able to stay on the board, able to stay together, but just barely. But they were able to take most of the hits. Meanwhile, Anderson could slowly work his way around, and ultimately, as I said, they were able to try to get him into a shock, and they failed, and that was the end of them. So, fortunately, though, Union did try to push up reinforcements. They did get them close. But unfortunately not close enough, because Stanley did get up here and actually tried to defend right where these Confederates are here. The 41st Mississippi, 10th Mississippi, and Fulton's units over there. They were defending at that point, but just overwhelming. Stanley's units very weak, nearly broken units, or I should say collapsed units, and they had to just keep retreating back. And ultimately, Anderson was able to push in here and take the victory hex right here. This victory hex became Confederate control. Now, that was a tough situation because with the reinforcements pouring in, Stedman's units weren't quite ready to attack. They were still in advance, so they couldn't actually counterattack. Van Dever over here was in position, but failed his brigade change orders. And by failing that, they couldn't counterattack. If they were able to actually make that brigade change order, they were able to move up units here and in here, and would be able to at least fire, if not shock attack. These guys, although have been tough here with this one over there, but get into these two hexes and shock attack. But he failed his shock attack, or his brigade change orders. So they could not shock attack over there. And of course, Stedman, as I said, was not in a position to get units changed in time to be able to affect it. So consequently, at the end of turn 2, Anderson had that victory hex. Now, I misstated a little bit on the victory conditions over here. It's even more severe than I thought. It's basically if at the end of any turn, the Confederates occupy with non-disordered unit, either hex 2044 or, let me put that like that, there we go. Non-disordered unit, either hex 2024 or 2545, they win. Well, they were able to accomplish this over here by easily shock attacking and taking this hex over here. Or actually, they didn't even shock attack. I believe it was just, yeah, it was just a regular direct fire on those units. They had to fall back with losses, and they were able to advance in there afterwards. And like I said, the Union could not recover by getting Van Dever in here close to changing his orders to attack. So consequently, it's a Confederate win on turn 2. I was fully expecting this to go 6 turns with everything, but just 2 turns it took the Confederates to actually take the scenario. And I think the biggest thing, as I said before, and why I spent a lot of time there a few minutes ago on the 21st Ohio, is their loss. It really opened up the door, because roughly where this 3rd South Carolina is where they were positioned. And they were very easily blocking this area over here. But with their loss, that kind of opened things up. And of course, Walker's units, Cannell and Walker's units over here were beat up here as well. Kind of had to retreat and bend back. So the defense of this, particularly this trail over here, was gone. And that allowed Anderson and Fulton to get up there. Scruggs over here was not a big factor in there. I thought they were going to come down and try to put some pressure on the reinforcements coming in, but no factor over there. Drew a little bit of units off of here, but pretty much non-existent. So anyways, so the Confederates actually win after 2 turns. So it's going to be a short set of videos for this. It was an interesting fight. I did like it. A little bit tough in terms of the setup. As I said, there was a bit of work to get that straight and get all that sorted out between different issues with the setup and things like that. But I was able to figure that out. It was kind of useful to actually write the units out into their brigades, because it did not match with their color coding and their designations on the counters themselves. So that was one downside of it there. but it was pretty good because you're right into the action. This is one where units are just going to start hammering at each other. A little bit tricky with the map. This is an older map, so some of the terrain features, I had to be very, very careful here with some of these terrain features, because some of these, are very close, particularly with the woods in here, in terms of their levels. Like right here, these are 2 levels. This is higher than this level here, and of course this is higher than that. But these kind of blend in, and once you get counters on them, it makes it even trickier here. So I know there's stuff in the works, as I'd mentioned before, in terms of upgrades to this. Hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. Maybe a little bit of rebalancing on this. I thought this was pretty quick with the loss of the 21st over there and getting these guys around the flank. Union has a little bit tougher time. I could have probably moved Harker out and over here sooner, but that would have left this open. I mean, sure, I could brought Stanley over, but he's going to be facing heavy attacks over here, and those units, Stanley's units, are very weak, very brittle over here as well. Stedman coming forward. He's got some good numbers. Problem is he's got a lot of green troops, so they're going to have to get into line and use more firing rather than attacking. The one saving grace here is Van Dever over here, but they don't make an appearance until at least 1400, 2 p.m. There's some other restrictions there as well that would get them moving, but really tough for that to happen on the first turn. So they can get moving there as well, but as you can see, the Confederates were well underway. If there was a little bit more blocking over here, probably could have got over here and been more of a blocking force. But really tough for the Confederates or the Union to actually get over there and block with any sense of units. The lucky thing here is they got the shot on them. They retreated. They're forced to retreat because they had I think it was a D+2 or something like that. Lost a step, and I failed it on the second disorder. Lost a step, and then had to retreat from there. So kind of tough on there, but it worked out for the Confederates. A little bit tough for the Union. So as I said, I kind of like this. It's an older scenario, a little bit tougher, bringing it up to standards. I tried to play this, just a couple more comments. Tried to play this with the 2023 rules. It did work very well. I think the out of ammo, the new rules for the out of ammo worked very well. Although we had quite a few out of ammos, I think Humphreys, most of Humphreys' brigade is out of ammo. Yeah, he's out of ammo there, and I think he's out of ammo there too. Most of them are out of ammo. There's quite a bit of out of ammo. Same thing with the Union over here as well. That worked well to substitute in for the special rule that was in there already. So that worked out well. Few other things. I used the terrain chart, the original terrain chart over there, which is pretty unforgiving, but that's what the terrain around northern Georgia was like, so I'm not worried about that so much. That's actually pretty good within there, but I did use the more current firing charts, fire charts, rather than the original. I obviously did use the original weapons charts and things like that on there as well. So it did work out well. It is a good play. It is very quick, very fast. You can get into it. There's a lot of dice rolling, I found, because you're just going right up against each other. So you've got a lot of these little regiments just pounding at each other, trying to break through the Union line, and the Union trying to fire back over here as well. So it's good for kind of reinforcing, what the core rules are in a small scenario. And as well as reinforcing the strategy of keeping your lines together, keeping a little bit distance between each other too, especially here in the woods. That makes a difference. These woods hexes are 2 to get in. Once these get into attack mode, of course, they've only got 3 movement points, so they're struggling to move one at a time on here. Like they got up here and then with advance, and then got into their lines, and then went into attack mode. But it's pretty close because actually in this particular turn, the Confederates, they pulled the 3 activation, but because Longstreet's not on the field and they're out of command, they drop down to a 2 at this point, okay, which made it, pretty tough for them to go. Luckily, with Kershaw and Johnson, their AMs came up. Let me just back up here so you can see that. Over here, their AMs came up. Actually, they got the initiative. I should say that too. The Confederates got the initiative. So Johnson attacked first, and then we can see that it was Brannigan, Stedman, Kershaw, Wood, Stedman, Brannigan. So they were trying to get aligned over here, but with Van Dever, he had to march over here. So there's 2 turns right here. Third one, they had to. They had to do their brigade change orders, and they just failed on that. And that's pretty much what did it. Thomas is a big factor because the Union only had an efficiency of 1. Thomas bumped it up to a 2, and then with Brannigan, he was able to add 1 there as well to make 3. So they all got 3 over there. Were able to get in. Now, I did have Van Dever, and this is another question. I kind of went with my gut on this one. Van Dever comes in as a reinforcement, so I had him under command. So that actually gave him 3. If he was not in command, that would only give him 2, and they wouldn't have been able to at least attempt the brigade change orders there as well. So that's a little bit of a gray area there as well with this. I thought. In terms of how this played. But all in all, I generally enjoyed it. It was a quicker scenario than I expected. Like I said, done after 2 turns, but it was pretty exciting 2 turns with a lot of combat, a lot of firing over here, a lot of attacking. We did have, I think, about 3 or 4 shock attacks within those 2 turns, so quite a bit of action going along right away. Not much artillery. Artillery is kind of stuck over here and coming on the board, so it's pretty much all infantry affair within here as well. So in terms of how it played, in reading about it, kind of went the same way. Particularly I found with Kershaw's attacks being stymied up through here. Obviously the Anderson and Johnson with Fulton's attacks over here, swept the day, which was different from historical. But I found that the Kershaw attacks over here were pretty close to what historically had happened, which I was kind of pleased on that, except for the loss of the 21st again. But again, I think that's just positioning and placement over here with being able to go for the flank and just having a tougher time to cover the whole area with the Union. So anyways, that's it. River of Death, Battle of Chickamauga, 160th anniversary. Quick little playthrough on here. Look forward to the day that someday that this gets redone, new map, clean up a little bit of the special rules, more scenarios, more small scenarios like this. I think these are really key for getting people playing this. The grand scenarios are great too. Played those before, but some of these smaller ones, sometimes it's just what you need, particularly if you're doing a video like I'm doing, or you just want a few hours of play with some tactical level ACW. So hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll be moving on to a next ACW. Also planning out as we get into the late fall, winter time frame here. Things kind of slow down in terms of the 160th stuff, but got a few things planned. I'm also planning out the 1864, which I'm probably going to try to get ahead on because there's so much that'll be going on with the 1864 battles. We've got the whole of the Shenandoah campaign, and of course we've got the Overland campaign. Plus we've got the Atlanta campaign in various forms there as well. So there's plenty to do. Plus I may catch up on a few that I didn't do later, so you may see some of the 1862 stuff come back, much like I did with the Stevenson's Depot on the last video there. So hopefully you enjoyed that too. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. I really like that one there as well. So anyway, stay tuned for more videos coming along in my 160th playthrough series of the American Civil War, using various civil wars, mainly great battles, but you have seen other ones too, blind swords, and you may see a few others pop up here in the near future. So hopefully you enjoy. Please like, please like it, comment, save it, give it to your friends, so forth and so on from there. And we will see you next time. Thanks a lot.